I wanted to do a video of my perceptions of Dead Cells, an early access side-scrolling roguelite action platformer by Motion Twin. Its brutal, fast-paced combat reminds me of the Souls games a bit, but as fast-paced as possible. Instead of stamina limitations that stop you from attacking, you have to learn the attack patterns and speeds of the increased number of melee and secondary weapons you can unlock through gameplay. The different levels you'll fight your way through will lead to more areas, bosses, and special runes that will provide permanent new abilities that help you reach even more new areas on subsequent runs. I want to be clear that I've been unable to beat the game as of the time of uploading this video, but I've unlocked 2 runes and made it to several of the locations so far. My favorite areas would have to be the Toxic Sewers and the Ossuary. The Toxic Sewers can be unlocked after gaining the Vine rune, and the Ossuary is unlocked with the teleportation rune found below the Toxic Sewers in the Old Sewers region. The prison cell you start out in every time you die and respawn is home to all your upgrades in a colorful collection of bottles hanging from the ceiling. One for each upgrade, I think. With the new Foundry update, it is also home to the Foundry where you can. If you've spent enough dead cells, or cells, at the collector found between each level, you can unlock new melee weapons, secondary weapons, skills, and shields to use in future runs. The more you unlock, the more you will find out in the game. There are also some permanent bonuses you can unlock, such as keeping more and more of your gold gathered during each run, or even getting a random melee weapon, secondary weapon, or shield that you've unlocked instead of the weak rusty sword, wood bow, or wooden shield. I would highly recommend unlocking the random weapons and shields as soon as possible, as the increasing number of weapon combinations or shields with special abilities will keep the gameplay fresh and varied, as well as helping you get through the first area outside your cell much faster. Speed running is rewarded in this game. The faster you kill your enemies, the more likely you'll get the speed bonus that helps you kill enemies and zip through the levels even faster. Not only that, but if you complete each region fast enough, you can unlock the next region's time-locked door and get a bonus of gold, stat boosts, and cells for upgrading. Provided you survive the level you just got to. The different regions are an excellent blend of randomly generated handcrafted segments. What that means is the overall level will look and be different each time, but you might come across chunks of the regions that seem familiar. It's because those are the permanent parts that will be in every level like that. I like the continuity they added to the world design. What I mean by that is you can't get to the ramparts up above the prison cell and dungeon you start out in from down in the old sewers below the toxic sewers and vice versa. It makes the giant castle world design they were going for feel more believable, and more daunting. I haven't beaten the game, so I'm unable to access all the features I want to talk about to show off what this game has to offer. I've been getting too arrogant, and trying to complete each level as fast as possible to get the time bonus rooms on each level. The more cells you collect in each level, the more things you can unlock between them. The new Foundry update allows you to use boss runes that drop when slaying the bosses of this game to make the whole game harder by reducing the number of healing fountains found between each level and spawning stronger enemies throughout each level, but it also will increase the number of cells dropped by enemies. The cells you collect can now also be spent at the blacksmith that shows up in between certain levels. The blacksmith allows you to permanently upgrade your weapons, shields, and skills and will grant an extra brutality, tactics, or survival point. Speaking of those, they are now the progression and difficulty system in the game. Every weapon, shield, and skill has 1 or 2 types that it is assigned and gains bonuses depending on whether you upgrade that particular color. Red is for brutality and is what most melee weapons are, but some are purple or green hybrids as well, purple indicating tactics, and green for survival. The more points you invest in each of these 3 categories when you collect the various scrolls that power your character up in each level or as the rare drop from some enemies, the more heavily that weapon will lean towards each color. Enemies that can drop scrolls will have a yellow star above their heads to help you spot them. It will also receive a larger bonus from further upgrades of that color. You can take a sword or bow that's half red and half purple, but make it 25% red and 75% purple if you upgrade your character that way. The type of upgrade you select from the scroll also affect you in another passive way by increasing your health, although it does that less and less the more you invest in each color, and providing extra damage for brutality, reduced cooldown times on your skills for purple, and increased health regenerated per kill, all up to a certain cap. I believe the color-specific damage bonuses keep increasing, though. Speaking of the different colored upgrades and the bonuses they provide, the new Foundry update also adds mutations that can be selected to augment your playstyle by increasing cooldowns for skills, health regenerated per kill, and damage bonuses after kills. There are also two that aren't color specific, and one of those doubles your ammo for ranged weapons, while the other is a one-time respawn in the event you die from something other than a curse. Which brings me to the curse aspect of this game. There are a few ways to get cursed, and being cursed just means that you will die the next time you take damage. No exceptions, even the free revive won't save you from a curse. You angered the gods, what did you expect? Mercy. Anyway, if you open a cursed treasure chest, you just have to kill 10 enemies to lift the curse, which is simple enough, but adds that bit of a thrill that comes from knowing you can't mess up at all or it's over. Another way to get yourself cursed, if you're looking for even more of a challenge from this brutal game, is to break down locked golden doors instead of paying the gold to open them. The better the item behind the door, the more expensive to open it becomes, and that includes the curse aspect of smashing the door down. Kick down a door protecting a rare item, and you'll have to kill 30 enemies to lift the curse. The rest of the doors will just make you kill 10 enemies like the cursed treasure does. An example of a rare item would have to be the Hunter's Grenade. It's used to increase the chance of getting a rare blueprint from enemies. The blueprints are what you collect to unlock new weapons, skills, and shields, and using the Hunter's Grenade greatly increases that chance of not only getting a blueprint from the enemy in general, but it will give you a relevant blueprint to others you have on you, provided you're carrying blueprints, that is. It also can transmute enemies into elite versions of themselves or elite zombies, the weakest enemy. Elite enemies are much stronger versions of enemies found in the game. Sometimes they're what you have to kill to collect a new rune to explore new regions of the castle, but most of the time, they're either caused by you throwing a hunter grenade around, or just casually spawned in the levels on occasion. Not only do they do more damage, summon a small zombie to fight with them, and attack faster while having more health than their regular version, but they also will grow larger, attack even faster, and teleport to you no matter where you run to after you get their health below a certain point. They are incredibly dangerous and not to be underestimated. To help you survive longer, there is a health flask or potion, or whatever you want to call it, that has an upgradable number of uses before it has to be replenished at the healing fountains I mentioned earlier. With a maximum number of 4 charges, don't expect it to make the game too easy for you. The further you get in the game, the harder the enemies and environments get, as well as more enemies will be found throughout the level and more enemy types will be found to learn the attacks and skills of to avoid being cut to pieces by everything thrown at you in this game. With that, I think I'm going to end this video. Expect more videos on Dead Cells in the future. I want to go in depth about each area, what traps await you, what enemies you'll have to look out for, and other things of that nature. This video's already getting a little long, and I don't think it would make sense to more than double its length by discussing each level in detail, as I've discovered: the prison depths, the toxic sewers, the old sewers, the clock tower, the ossuary, the graveyard, the promenade of the condemned, the sepulchre, the ramparts, the fog fjord, and the black bridge, just a boss fight. There's still at least one boss I haven't defeated, and 2 runes I haven't found and unlocked. A wall jump rune that requires no explanation, and a stomp rune that does require some explanation, but for which I can only provide speculation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you like what you saw and heard, consider getting Dead Cells while it's still in early access. Or you can always wait for it to come to console if you don't have a PC to play it on. If you have any questions or comments about my perception of the game or just the game in general, please leave them in the comments section below. And stay safe till